Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam. So Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitanscha. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratuje Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All right, excuse me, I'm writing something down because things pop up when we open things in the morning, which it is here. But happy to have all of you pop up. We are here with the family, and Brazil looking very cold, Thailand looking very warm, everywhere else. Srilekha in Salt Lake City looking sunny, if that is the sunshine on your monstero plant on the left, which we can just see its leaves. The sun is shining, all right. And that monstero plant, reminding us of the monstero plant here, which now must be more than 45 years old. In the veranda here, yes. Hare Krishna, they grow to be as old as us. Just see. And the trees, of course, grow to be even older. And Hari Day, Prabhu, good to see you, Prabhu. Also there in Salt Lake City, nearby. Aparajita Devi Dasi, Sevarupa Devi Dasi, Dana K, and Gangalila Devi, and Paramananda Prabhu, last but not least. Well, I mentioned the Brazilians only as being cold, but Anu Krishna Devi Dasi and Leela Moy Prabhu somewhere in Uberland. So they're looking after us, hosting us with the back to basics. And happily with you, Paramananda Prabhu is in the car, but he is parked, I think. Yes, you're parked. Can you hear me, Paramananda Prabhu? Can. Okay. You look very still. I was wondering whether I was only speaking to myself. So here in Vila Govinda, every day is a festival for everyone who participates, and quite a lot of people have been participating. So our festivals have been going on, and yesterday to Brazil, then Leela Moipu and Anno Krishnapu, you were there in the yes, you were there. Okay, yes, indeed. We had a good, large Brazil gathering, but we had a special, I shouldn't say guest, because he's actually one of the pillars here, which is Shyama Sundar Prabhu. And he came out secretly revealing one of his qualities, that is, he speaks fluent Portuguese. And so he gave a lively, fluent Portuguese talk. And I was surprised how much I understood, because he was sitting right beside me, and heart to heart. So probably the most Portuguese I've understood in a conversation was him telling about Krishna consciousness. So if that is, oh well, it'll only benefit it'll benefit everybody. But if it's recorded, it is worthwhile listening to, no doubt, for those who know Portuguese. So Shyama Sundar Prabhu is here. His family is always here, I mean, at the weekends, but he was here because he just arrived in from somewhere, wherever he was doing his work. And so he came, and he's one of the pillars of the temple here and the founding forefathers, but he's the constantly here by his energy and his presence, and his family. His family lived just nearby. He's from here, and he married Jayashri, the daughter of, what was her mother's name? Srilekha Devi Dasi, who is here with us right now. Srilekha Devi Dasi and Jai Govinda Prabhu. Their daughter Jayashri is here, along with her 3 children. They stay at their grandma's home. So anyway, and with the festival, we have Abhinava Sundar Prabhu and Kelly Kadamba from Australia, and we have Keshavananda Prabhu, another one. Well, he calls Srilekha her mum, his mum rather also, Mata, Srilekha Mata. So very much family. And then we've got Rasarati is here. Kamala Sundari Devi Dasi came back from France, where they've been preaching. Rasarati is booming in her mood and her devotional activities, so she's doing very well. And only Jagannath Prabhu, he's still in France, and he's coming back here on the, not sure, soon, 13th perhaps, I'm not sure, 23rd I think he's coming. But he's actively recruiting sincere seekers in France, so he's in touch. This is our news from here. Every day it's a festival. We have the Kirtanyas, and we are taking advantage of the Kirtanyas, devotionally speaking, so that we get to sing some of those Kirtans we rarely sing and struggle for a tune. So maybe our list of Kirtans is increasing with their example when we are thoughtful enough to record the tune. And I do have 1 or 2 items here, tunes. Okay, so that we've got the tunes of the Kirtan. All right. This week, yes, we've got lots of things which we can share, but we'd like to share something. Well, first of all, I will share something. Why not? Because it's a source of inspiration. That is, we've all been reading from time to time Sharanagati, the 50 songs, the 50 prayers, songs, kirtans, the 50 kirtans composed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And we've all been reading along with the commentary, the gentle moonlight commentary that Srila Guru Maharaj composed. Why? Okay, my keyboard doesn't seem to be working. Interesting. I'll have to go somewhere else to find the treasure. No keyboard working. Okay, turn it off, turn it on. All the things we got to do. Oh, it's back. Okay. But in the Sharanagati at the very front, there is also, so now I need to find it again. There is Srila Guru Maharaj's Mangalacharana, the invocation of auspiciousness, as it is said in Sharanagati, in the edition published from the temple. And this is, well, everything is wonderful, but this is so wonderful. And here we've been reading this. Okay, I'll be more maybe. So it's 8, is it 8 verses? It's very short, but the translation is a little long. No, it's 10 verses actually. But today, anyway, I'd just like to read the first verse and then the verse which is Guru Dham, this one just a little bit later on. So the first verse of the invocation. Now you're good. Oh, yes, we know invocations. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Pari. That's the first verse of the actual Sharanagati composed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But Srila Guru Maharaj's first verse of his invocation to the Laghu Chandrika Bhasya, to his commentary on Srila Bhaktivinoda Sharanagati, is this very famous verse but I forget where it comes from, and here reminded. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahe Anya, Rupa Nuga Janera Jivana, Vishvambara Priyankara, Sri Sarupa Damodara, Sri Goswami Rupa Sanatana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Sri Radha Krishna and is the very life of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu's followers. Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu, and Srila Sanatan Goswami are most dear to Vishvambara. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahe Anya, Rupa Nuga Janyara Jivana, Vishvambara Priyankara, Sri Swarupa Damodara, Sri Goswami, Rupa Sanatana. Hare Krishna. Anyhow, I'll read you the translations I will read you the translations for all 10, maybe just a little bit longer than we would normally read, but it's Guru Maharaj, it's so wonderful. So verse 2, the great souls, Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Prabhu, are the dear followers of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu. Their dear follower is Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. His dearmost follower is Srila Narottam Das Thakur, who is ever engaged in divine service. His feet are the aspiration of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Then number 3, the foremost devotees of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur are Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan and Srila Jagannath Das Babaji. Their dear follower is Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. His associate is the best of the topmost devotees, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji, whose sole joy is the service of Sri Hari. The follower of Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji, the great soul Dayata Das, that's Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose wealth is Sri Krishna Kirtan, fulfills the desires of the whole world. He is the dearmost of Sri Vasha Bharnavi, Srimati Radharani, and is always engaged in her service. 5, the divine personage, Sri Dayata Das, another name again for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The divine personage, Sri Dayata Das, is non-different from Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu. His very life is Srila Sarup Damodar. His very life is Srila Sarup Damodar, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. His lotus feet are to be served eternally. Then the feeble Ramananda Das, this is Srila Guru Maharaj's earlier name, referring to himself very humbly, the feeble Ramananda Das, whose good fortune has arisen, sees this Laghu Chandrika Bhasya, this commentary, this gentle moonlight commentary on Srila Saraswati Thakur's Bhakti Sharanagati. So the feeble Ramananda Das, whose good fortune has arisen, sees this Laghu Chandrika Bhasya as the temple of his service. Then verses 6 and 7. My master, the universal Guru, Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, uplifts the conditioned souls submerged in the ocean of their whimsical activities to the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga. So he uplifts them to the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga and enlightens them about the greatness of Sharanagati, surrender. Let me be a particle of dust at his supremely magnanimous lotus feet, birth after birth. Then number 8, I perpetually offer my obeisance unto Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur with great joy. Then this verse in particular, I'll read to the Sanskrit of this. Is it Sanskrit or Bengali? Bengali. Maybe Paramananda can help me out. I do believe this is maybe Bengali, maybe Sanskrit. Paramananda will give some news to us in a moment. But I'll first give the translation for this verse. Then, after praying to be a speck of dust, a particle of dust, of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's lotus feet, Srila Guru Maharaj in verse 8 says, I perpetually offer my obeisance unto Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the author of this book, with great joy. Guru Dham, he is first and foremost the giver of Sri Guru, Bhagavan, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Then in parentheses, the inaugurator of the new era of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Then Grantadam, he is the author of numerous commentaries, treatises, articles, novels, and songbooks. Then again in parentheses, which represent the condensed essence of revealed truth. Then Gaura Dhamma Dham, he is the revealer of the abode of Sriman Mahaprabhu. And then again, parenthesis, which had become lost due to the course of time. Then Namadam, he is the giver of the name. That is, in parenthesis, the proper conception of the name. Then Bhakti Dham, he is the giver of pure devotion. In parenthesis, the proper conception of pure devotion in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu. And Bhuri Dham, he is the bestower of an abundance of divine fortune. Then in parenthesis again, ultimately the service of Srimati Radharani. And then translations to verses 9 and 10 are very short. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur composed a short book entitled Sharanagati, upon which I have written a commentary. Verse 10, now, although I am very dull-witted, for the sake of illumination, I offer the devotees this gentle moonlight commentary, which represents the conclusions of pure devotion. Hare Krishna. And that verse number 8, that in the translation, word by word, sections by section, of Guru Dham, Grantha Dham, Gaura Dhama Dham. This verse is Guru Dham, Grantha Dham, Gaura Dham Dham, Nama Dham, Mura, Nama Dham Muda, Bhakti Dham, Bhuri Dham, Vande Bhakti Vinoda Kam Sada. So he gave all these things, and then giving obeisance is continuously to Srila Bhakti Vinoda. Vande Bhakti Vinoda Kam Sada. Hare Krishna. Govinda Govinda. So anyhow, this is my beginning offering, is again bringing our attention to something that we already know exists, that we come to from time to time. And today, or yesterday, came to this again. And then just a reminder of the grandness of which we are connected, and the grandness of the perception of Srila Guru Maharaj, who is showing us who is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, actually coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the present time, and showing our substantial, the lineage, the main lineage. There are so many pure devotees throughout the pastimes, of course, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and continuing. So many pure devotees are there, but showing that substantial current that is flowing from Mahaprabhu through Rupa, Sanatan, Jiva to the present time. Hare Krishna. And then begins the Sharanagati. Hare Krishna. So Paramananda Prabhu, should we give the opportunity today to Srilekha Devi Dasi to begin our Hare Katha? Well, I hope I gave a little Hare Katha, but to begin our Hare Katha amongst the assembled Vaishnavas. We were mentioning about Salt Lake City, Sweet Lake City. We have two devotees directly there with us, and we were mentioning how many of Sweet Lake City we have stolen over here. And actually, you in Thailand, I mean, I know you're in Japan just now, but you've also stolen Ramasundra Prabhu. So Salt Lake City is producing plants. The plants are growing, and those plants are going around the world to be cultivated and to, we hope, continue to distribute, as plants do, the seeds of devotion wherever they are. So Paramananda was nodding his head, Srilekha. Yes, we are here with our ears open to hear from you today.
Dhanyavad Maharaj, Dhanyavad Paramananda Prabhu. I'm a little bit under the weather, so if someone can tell me what to talk about, that will help me out a little bit here. I feel a little blank-headed. But
Well, Krishna, a blue boy with a flute.
Okay, Maharaj, with your grace. I mean, we are trying to understand what Sharanagati is. It has to be really discussed quite regularly, because it's a diametrical change in the trajectory of our existence. So it's not something so easy to do. And I know, I think maybe I mentioned this before, but it occurred to me, like when you're about to do something difficult, like a professional football team or something like that, their coach is pretty much giving them the same talk every time. And they're not like, oh, boring, but they're going to do something super hard. So he repeats what oh, yes, we've got this now. Or, yes, we're going to go on with it. So we have to discuss Sharanagati really quite often, and I would say daily, to remember who Krishna is, because not remember, but also to remember what we've heard, and also continue to search for Krishna and search for Guru also, to keep our search open and try to understand have the broad understanding of who is Gurudev, and how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I was remembering when you were reading, Maharaj, that Srila Guru Maharaj, and I think you would know this devotee's name. I'm thinking it was Bhagawatananda or something like this, and he was only in Srila Saraswati Thakur's. He was a disciple, but only for a few years, and then he left. He left the world. And Srila Saraswati Thakur was crying so much in separation. And he said, oh, that was Bhaktivinoda Thakur came in the form of this devotee. And now he's gone, and I didn't realize it was him. So how Gurudev is coming to us in so many ways and through so many incidents and things that we hear, something coming again to remind us about, to remind us and to to that life of Guru is coming again to embrace us and instruct us. And he can come in so many kinds of ways. And so and even in the case of Bilva Mangal Thakur, of course, we know the story that in previous time, he was very much attached to one beautiful prostitute whose name was Chintamani. And after going through so much difficulty in a raging torrential storm, crossing the river, like just so determined. And then she came to the door and saw this, he's wet and, he's been through so much to go see her. And she said, if you had so much love for Krishna as you have for me, how your life will be so sublime. And then remembrance came to him. And he, renounced everything and went to Vrindavan, so many beautiful things in the life of Bilva Mangal Thakur. But he said, my guru came to me in the form of her. He spoke through her and reminded me. So we're sort of, keeping our ears open and our, seeing through our ears and trying to see how Gurudev is coming, none different from the Lord, is coming to remind us and keep us, under his guardianship throughout our lives. And Guru Maharaj said we must see Guru in this very broad way and broad understanding. I was going to say something else. I forget what it was. But so the whole environment is very optimistic. And Guru Maharaj defines Leela as so many activities happening and there's no harm to anyone. So Guru Maharaj is saying, don't try to modify the environment, but try to modify yourself to make your inside optimistic to meet the optimistic outside, where everything is coming in a very where truth is flowing. Divine truth, divine will is dancing. Guru Maharaj says, divine will is dancing. And we have to make out, because we want to avoid cynical thoughts or pessimistic thoughts that it's all bad, I'm bad, and that's bad, and I want out of here, and this is bad. But try to modify that and see how goodness is coming. How in my case, in our individual case, how so many beautiful things are coming. How many wondrous and wonderful things are coming to modify me and to mercifully adjust me, and fix how I am maladjusted by my own activities. It's my own fault. And why? Why is the environment coming to help me with this? It is the nature of reality. It's extremely magnanimous, very affectionate, and coming lovingly. And we will see Guru everywhere. We will see the hand of our Guru in every situation, coming to modify me and make me right. There's so many things to say, but I'll just say one more thing that I heard today, that Guru Maharaj was talking about Trinadapi Sunichena, how Mahaprabhu has said Trinadapi Suni Chena Tarori Vasishnana Manina Manadena Kirtanaya Siddhari. He's saying, we must make ourselves, we can chant the holy name if we are more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, ready to offer all respects to others and not having no attachment for respect, to get respect. And he said, to reach that plane of being a blade of grass in our own estimation, mountains must be crossed, oceans must be crossed. So many things, so many layers will be crossed to come to the plane where one can really consider himself that way. And when that happens, then the name will be there. We'll find the name in that land. So that could be like, oh my God, that's never going to happen. But the fact is that Guru said through surrender to the environment, it's like a shortcut. Everything will be removed very quickly if we can only bow down. And sometimes something happens and we don't know what to bow down to. It's confusing. Why is that? And I don't know. Like we're being turned over by a wave and we don't know which way is up. But we are patient and we know that there is purpose. We know that there is magnanimity and mercy behind all these movements. And so we just bow down. My Lord, as you like, this is good. This is always good for me. You are my guardian. And very soon, when the time is right, we will understand why this has happened. So anyhow, it's not an easy thing to practice Sharanagati, but it is the life of our practice. And without this, our practice will not have current. It will be external. We can give our physical energy, but to give our surrender, to give myself, that's going to be a little more challenging. But that is what we're doing. It's a matter of consciousness. It's a matter of giving. It's a matter of, I am for you. I am for you. This whole environment is for you. Everything is perfectly situated for your service. Only my eye is covered by a cataract of selfishness. And so I want to bow down and chakshuran militam jena tasmai. Let that cataract, let that ignorance in my eye be removed by the mercy of Gurudev.
By the way, we've also been remembering Salt Lake City and the theme of Tateno Kampang Susamikshemano, as is being described to us today by Srilekha Devi Dasi. In our regular listening, as we do, then here in the temple room, we've been, I think, almost every morning and evening continuing to listen to Guru Maharaj, because we can't stop listening to him for a lecture. Well, I mean, lecture, it's an informal, substantial talk. And guess what is the theme? Tatenu Kampansu Samikshemano. But as we are hearing about Sharanagati, about Krishna, about the holy name, about the devotees, we are hearing many things continuously. As Srilekha pointed out, we're hearing similar things day by day. And this also is Srila Guru Maharaj giving this emphasis on seeing the environment as not only to be tolerated, but the environment is coming to correct us. And this particular talk, it's not published, but it is. Of course, the theme is published, but how Guru Maharaj is giving it, it's another time of his ever-fresh presentation of this theme. And so we're also thinking of Salt Lake City, and Jai Shri was here And we said, I know we're not often, in the evening, we don't so often play. We usually listen to Guru Maharaj in the morning. We would go to Guru Maharaj in the morning. That's when we would hear him. But it's a little bit unputdownable. So we are listening to sections. And so Jayashree was here with the family. This wasn't yesterday, it was the day before, but she's been coming the last 2 days, for the programs, which is beautiful, to bring the family as well. The children are growing up, so they can not only have their school, whatever they talk about at school, but they can hear what's talked about in the temple. And so we were playing part of that too. And actually, I'd love to play it now. It's just, I'd have to put it on the computer and then play it through. But we've heard from Guru Maharaj today. Maybe I could take a little clip from that and we can play it, because maybe, yes, if Leela Moy makes me the host, I think I can play the audio of the computer. And it's not super clear, but it's not super unclear. And just a section where we're hearing from Guru Maharaj, the same theme. And it's not just words, this is guidance for our lives, as is the whole of the Sharanagati discussion by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and by Srila Guru Maharaj. And in Srila Guru Maharaj's introduction to his Sri Sri Prapanna Jivanamritam, the nectar in the life of the surrendered souls, Guru Maharaj says very similarly that because Sharanagati is the very basis of devotional life, we should always be discussing about it. So, wonderful things. And now, by the way, we've also been joined by another devotee who refers to Srilekha as her mother. That's Srilekha Devi Dasi. She's quietly joined us here with a simple Indu as her name. So you see evidence, Srilekha, of the distribution of sweetness from Sweet Lake City. Okay. Paramanand Prabhu, we are all ears to hear the continuation, the follow-on, whatever theme you may like to share with us on this beautiful morning here, beautiful night in Brazil, and beautiful every other time, wherever you may be.
Well, speaking of ether, devotional ether, so many things I wanted to say at some point after listening to your reading of Sharanagati, actually Guru Maharaj's introduction. Srilekha Didi already said. She even brought up a personality I've been thinking very much when I was hearing you reading. And this is just another confirmation it actually exists. Otherwise, how is that possible? And if you ask me about the blue boy with the flute, I have no clue who he is. Really, I have no idea. But I know his devotees. And that's where the attraction lies. If you just go out on the street without being a devotee of Krishna and try to convince somebody to surrender to a blue boy with the flute, it will be a challenging thing. Probably you're not going to succeed. But if you are a devotee, if you're familiar with him, if you develop some kind of relationship with him, if he is your worshipable object, then you're probably going to succeed. At least it will spark interest in somebody. And that is what happened to us. It's because of our inner search. We're out of place in this world. We're being out of place for so many lives. And we're desperately searching for the harmony. Where are we from and what is our purpose? And where is the harmony? Where this can be found? And then comes the Guru, when we accumulate enough of good fortune. Or sadhu, or we can simply say the one who knows him. And then that person will give you him. And then through that person, you will develop some appreciation about Krishna. But then, to speak about Krishna, but most of the time, they will be speaking about what is not Krishna, the misconceptions, Trinadapi, basic stuff. Like when Srilekha Devi was speaking about Sharanagati and Trinadapi Sanishna, be humble, be tolerant. It sounded so easy to practice, and really. When you hear devotees speaking about it, you're very inspired. You're thinking, oh, I'm just after that talk, I'm going to be humble, I'm going to be tolerant. It's just going to happen. It's so simple. And then we start practicing, and it's so inconceivably difficult. I mean, how is that possible? So most of the time, what are we hearing from those agents? We're not hearing about some intimate pastimes of the Lord. We're hearing about how to become, a good receiver of his. Basically, they're giving us the medicine, prescribing us medicine so we can cure the disease. And by curing the disease, we will become healthy. And we'll become non-delusional. And the eye will have the capacity to see the reality again. And that's what is going on. And this is our practice. Only one thing, Srilekha Devi, I would like to slightly disagree. There's always, how it is, there's always so. It's not exactly a disagreement, though. My vision of Sharanagati to be non-separate from Krishna consciousness. So the process is Sharanagati. The end result is Sharanagati. It's all about that, surrendering to him. So it's not a supplementary part. This is just my vision of that, not a supplementary thing that we use in our practice to reach the stage of Krishna consciousness, we can say, to be conscious of Krishna, to start loving Krishna. Without that, it's just impossible. So our all practice in Krishna consciousness is Sharanagati. And what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying in his prayers, he's actually pouring his heart out. So it's all about how much separation from the Lord he is feeling, and how much he is ready to be whatever Lord wants him to be. He just wants that connection. He just wants to be near him. You want to do something for him. He wants to love him. And even though we hear about Krishna so much for himself and by himself, that sounds very selfish, isn't it? I mean, if you hear again, you're like newcomer, and then you come and God is by himself and for himself, like, okay, well, that doesn't sound really inspiring. So where I am in that scheme. But it is true, he's for himself and by himself. But his necessity, his life force, he's also described as bhavagrahi. He wants that ecstasy. Without that ecstasy, without the love, without that the feeling coming from the hearts of his devotees, he cannot continue, as inconceivable as it is. So we are the natural part of that necessity of Krishna. And that's where we're going to be in the perfect harmony. And that's where we aspiring for. And that's where the Sharanagati is leading. And without the Sharanagati, you cannot even be there. I mean, that's going to be just continuous theme, the continuous state of existence in Krishna consciousness, the mood of Sharanagati. This is it. This is like what we are aspiring for. But I'm sure Srilekha Devi, I mean, she meant the same thing.
Yeah, it's so true, Mark. I mean, really, Prabhu, it's really important to bring that out. I remember once hearing a story about when the Braja Gopis are trying to cross the river to sell milk, and Krishna's giving them all kinds of problems. He's the boatman, he's charging them too much money, and then he says there's a hole in the boat, and there's all, and it's all nectar. It's all, I mean, like you're saying, I mean, this is very high. I don't mean to bring up some high pastime, But it really struck me when I heard this that their whole existence is in harmony with whatever he does. It's just it's like it's the eternal basis of all Leela, Visharanagati. I think that, I mean, that's what you're saying. And I think never mind. I shouldn't even have started talking, but it just
No, this have we have to talk about it.
Yeah, it's all there.
And you mentioned how Maharaj was saying that we have to cross the mountains to be able to just become. It's just the beginning of our connection with Krishna, and for that we have to cross something that is so high that it's impossible to do. But then we hear this beautiful verse that everyone knows: Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripata maham vande shri gurun dinatarana. So by the grace, but what is cannot be done, it can easily be done by the grace of the devotee. Because they possess that. They actually the sole givers of Krishna consciousness, as we know. Krishna is not Krishna conscious. He is Krishna. But devotees are very much Krishna conscious. So they are the ones who are, like Guru Maharaj also uses the word of fortune makers. They're giving that. And you mentioned Bival Mangal Thakur. And really, it works in inconceivable. We can discuss it, we can think about it, we can talk, but it works in absolutely inconceivable way. Unpredictable, uncalculable. It's all his free-flowing, we call it causeless because we cannot figure it out. Causeless grace, causeless mercy. And then you brought up Bilva Mangal Thakur. And that's why I said there must be that ether existing. Because as Maharaj was reading, I remember the verse. It was so dear to Govinda Maharaj. He quoted it so many times. It belongs to Bilva Mangal Thakur. And only a few verses were actually for us to hear. Like once I was present when he was reciting Krishna Karnamritam, verse after verse after verse after verse. It was a very small gathering in his veranda in Navadvip. And I think it was Goswami Maharaj who he just asked, is this Krishna Karnamritam? And all good have said, yes. And he kept going, relishing it alone. But some verses were actually meant for us, and that's one of them. And the verse is Advaita Vidhi Putitaya Patya Svananda Simhasana Labha Diksha Satena Kenapi Vayam Katena Dasikrita Gopa Vatuvitena. And God would always love Gopa Vatuvitena. So in that verse, Bilva Mangal Thakur is saying, I was actually a follower of monism philosophy. I was an impersonalist. And I had a good position there. I achieved some position. I had disciples. And I was seated on a high place. But that cunning boy who is chasing girls in the groves of Raja forcibly made me his maidservant. Even though it was allowed for us to hear, it's still a very high verse. But here is that expression of free flow of Krishna's grace, his desire, his lila. Nothing is impossible for him. But main ingredient is, so we're trying to make ourselves a qualified recipient of that grace that may come or may not come, like ever. And hence Guru Maharaj's famous statement, what is it, risk all risk and no gain. Are you ready for that? Because this is what it is. I mean, you cannot say, oh, Krishna, I did this and that and that and that and that. I think I'm qualified, so please give me your grace. This is not what we're hearing from our guardians. Like I was giving that example. I was in a museum in the middle of Thailand. There was this ancient kingdom of Sukhodai or Sukhadam, a happy kingdom. And there was a stone stela. There were actually several ones. And those stelas were mentioning good deeds of different people from 800 years ago. And there's one man who is mentioning, I did this, I did that, donated money, built a temple, fed the monks, and just a whole long list of his good deeds. And in the end, he put the conclusion. Considering what I have done, I think I deserve your grace. So please be kind and give it to me. It was like, can you see? But not in our case. So we're just the best situation, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, at some point you start understanding when you listen to his Sharanagati prayers that he is desperate. And he is not just doing it for the sake of poetry, to add some drama, to attract people with that feeling. It's not external. He is actually, literally pouring his heart out. It's very intimate. It's not for public. It's actually for the devotees to understand that. And there's a desperancy in his prayers. He is desperate for Krishna. He is desperate for connection with Krishna. He is desperate for the service. He is desperate for his place. He is missing it dearly. But what most amazing thing is, and we hear it from Sanatana Goswami, that Krishna is feeling the same. And that's just unthinkable. And it's so beautifully illustrated in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. That Lord is missing his devotee. Even more than devotee is missing him. But it's not true exactly. There's a competition. And no one is reaching the limit. Otherwise, how Krishna would become Mahaprabhu? Because of devotees' love and ecstasy that even he cannot understand and comprehend. And that beautiful book, one of the opening, like Maharaj was talking about Mangala Charanam, the auspicious invocation that bring all auspiciousness before we start any conversation or any devotional work. He is saying, Svadaita nija bhava yovi bhava svabhava sumadhura avatirna bhakta rupena lopa. He's saying, attracted by the ecstasy in the heart of his own servitor, the Lord greedily desires. He's feeling such an intense desire to experience what in the heart of his devotee, that he becomes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hari Hayati Vesha Sri Sachi Sunesh. And he becomes known as the son of Mother Shachi. Anyhow, it's all started from Maharaj, quoting Guru Maharaj. Then Srilekha Devi elaborated. And we can go on. I mean, really, it's a gathering, and that's what the devotee is supposed to do. We're not supposed to discuss politics or good deeds or misdeeds of each other, but really relishing something that touched our hearts. And we should remember that it's actually touched our hearts. So we can pull it out and exchange with each other.
And dance.
And dance, yes, Maharaj. Join the dance. Srilekha Devi mentioned that Krishna is already dancing. So it's good to join the dance.
Hare Krishna. And then about Sharanagati, it is not just, as Srila Gurudev says, not just to surrender and lie down, but to surrender and do something. And this also comes up in the talks of Ramananda Roy. Yes, surrender, but surrender for what? We have to be active in the land of surrender. And also the talks between Mahaprabhu and Raghupati Upajjhaya in Prayag. Quite a similar discussion is taking place, like the purpose of life kind of discussion. And yesterday, as we began, we were mentioning about how Shyama Sundar Prabhu from here yesterday was talking to the Brazilian devotees. I mean, talking means sharing very, very beautifully. One thing which I caught from the talk was, he said, and this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You know, in the Olympics, a sprint is you run and then, you know, after 10 seconds or less if you're really fast. Then, that's it. You've done your sprint, then you're exhausted and you lie down. But this is a marathon where we need to keep on going throughout our whole lives. And as long as we're in this world, we have to give exertion to some degree. We have to exert because the environment is coming from the opposite side. So as a marathon runner, he has to exert. He doesn't just suddenly find, oh, I'm going without any exertion. But the guarantee is that this is taking us to the land where all exertion is joy. And not only will it be joy, but we won't even feel like we are exerting ourselves. We're being pulled from the land of love instead of giving some positive energy, being aware that I'm going uphill. And actually, Srilekha Devi Dasi, if you can find the quote, Seva Devi Dasi, if anyone, okay, I'll put this out in the ether, if anyone can find that quote of Guru Maharaj about how we must cross mountains and oceans to cross to this point of humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others, that our ego will go.
I have it in my, maybe Seva Didi found it, but I have it on a talk. It's one of the talks in my car right now. So,
that's useful. Could you just tip your car over?
Yeah, I just shake it. But I can find it tomorrow when I go down.
Perfect. That'll be lovely. And I can say what's in my mind is that Madhurananda Prabhu here, he loves making stickers, which he sticks in all sorts of places. And especially when we are going hiking for sadhu sangha, for harikatha, when we're going hiking with the devotees, he takes stickers. One of them is like surf the Kali Yuga. And I say to him, people don't know what is Kali Yuga, but he likes this idea. And he just made a new one, which I don't know whether whether Munindra Mohan Prabhu voluntarily put it on the back of his car or not. But I think he's sticking them on people's cars as well as in other places. And it's saying, well, I'll have to find it to find out, but it's something like, hike the Kali Yuga, go upwards. I guess something like hike upwards is for some idea of mountains and going upwards. In Kali Yuga, we got to go upwards, but I think this wording, if we can use something like this, this will really draw some attention. And then he puts the barcode for Bila Govinda Ashram so that people can see more. So, and we've had people come from these stickers that he puts. And in Italy, I don't know about other places, but in Italy, people like putting stickers on things. And so when we are in the mountains, they have the signs. They don't put stickers on the signs that say which way to go, but on the post that goes up and in other places. And so we've seen stickers that we put up, or they've put up over the years when we revisit places. So it's a form of reaching out. And Madhurananda yesterday was wearing a T-shirt with no writing on it. And I did comment to him, Prabhu, what happened? Oh, very good bleach. He likes putting devotional expressions everywhere. All right, Hare Krishna. So we're very happy to be with you all in this company. And as Shyama Sundar Prabhu did point out, as he and I had been discussing before, that is that one thing we can't really successfully do on Zoom is to do kirtan together. The other thing we can't do is distribute prasad in the form of rice, dal, sabji, pizza, and other things. And Keshavananda here, he produced one of these famous Italian dishes. Forget what it's called. But he told Munindra said, don't tell the people. They don't think it's, how can this be produced by a British person? No, this is Italian. So our devotees, they're learning special skills for the satisfaction of Krishna. Hare Krishna. All right, dear devotees, so I'm going to continue here. Oh, and by the way, is Srilekha Devi still with us? Oh, it must be getting dark there. Okay. But Maheshwari Devi Dasi is here, and sometimes she's with us here on the Zooms. And by the way, the chair is here, that she may turn up to share something, but she hasn't turned up today. But yesterday also, she revealed that her son, who is Bilva Mangal, and this was when you were talking about Bilva Mangal Thakur, her son is Bilva Mangal Das. Anyway, he's married to Vaidehi, who grew up with Srilekha's daughter, Jayashri. So Vaidehi and Jayashri, they're now both married and with children, but they grew up together in devotional service. So how everything is extended, even though Maheshwari Devi, she's from Milwaukee, somewhere unknown in the middle north of America, then still some connection with the devotees you see of Sweet Lake, connected to Sweet Lake City. So something good in the water, as we said before. All right, and by the way, Maheshwari, she was mentioning you, Dana, and she was saying, can't we help her come in connection somewhere? And Shyama Sundar Prabhu does go to Florida sometimes for his work, and he was asking, where do you live? And we said, well, you're way up in the north. But please know, Dana, devotees think of you, even when you may think they're not thinking of you. You're in the devotees' thoughts. Hare Krishna. Now she's disappeared from the screen. Oh dear, sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you. And one chat in the chat box, well, two chats. Sevrupa put in the Tattenu Kampan verse, and Sevrupa put in Ahankara nivrittanam keshavo nahi duragaha. Ahankara yutanam hi madhye parvata rashayana. Keshava, Krishna, can be found in the company of the selfless, but the egoistic are mountains apart from him. Not sure that Madhurananda was going to go along with that one, but I'm copying it out as a basis, maybe. But yes, Srilekha Devi Dasi, tomorrow when the light returns, then do share with us. Oh, Dana's here. Did you disappear and come back? Or did I just not see you? Anyway, Dana, if you disappeared and came back, just know that we were stressing that devotees do remember you with all their good wishes. All right. I better go also. We've got activities going on. And here it's not so early in the morning, even though the chair is empty and we have an open invitation for devotees to get up an hour and a half earlier and come and join us on Back to Basics. The invitation is an open invitation, but we are very happy you all have accepted it. Jai, wonderful Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai, wonderful Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rock, Srila Hadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Wonderful Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan, also wonderful. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Our whole Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Bhaga Ki Jai. Jai Sri Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Sharanagati book Ki Jai. And Srila Guru Maharaj's Mangalacharanam to that book and to his Laghu Chandrika Bhasya of that book Ki Jai. And Shishi Prapana Jivanamritam Ki Jai. To all the assembled devotees Ki Jai. And by the way, to Madhava Prabhu and to Krishna Mohini, who sent messages and obeisances to everybody on Facebook. To you all, we appreciate your presence, and those we can't see on Facebook, those we can't see who see the recorded version. To you all, our appreciation, our obeisances, and we want to share with each other encouragement for each of us to keep on going in devotional life. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna. So we'll meet you all again very soon. Muktinath, good to see you and good to talk with you recently. Srilekha Devi Dasi down there in Texas. I bet you haven't got the accent. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. All good wishes, Aparajita Devi Dasi, Hari Dev Prabhu, all of you. I don't want to miss anybody else. Gangalila Didi, Nadia Priya Didi. It's wonderful. We'll meet soon. Hare Krishna.
Dhanyavad, dhanyavad.
Wonderful.